Hello, you're watching Ellie from Ellymentry Papercrafting. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in the UK. Today I'm going to be using the Merriest Moment stamp set again, along with the beautiful embossing folder and of course the gorgeous dies. I'm going to be making a small, very quick Christmas card and also 2 place settings for the Christmas table, all using just one die cut from the set with the embossing folder. So let's get on and let me show you how I did it. So I took the die cut and cut the shape out, and then I ran it through the embossing folder, and then using my long bladed scissors I'm just cutting off the top and bottom edges from the die cut. The cardstock I used here was garden green. So I'm putting the solid piece to one side, and that's what I'm going to use for the 2 place names. So I'm just chucking away the little bits that have fallen off the edge there. And now I'm just bringing in a card blank. This is an A6 size in basic white. And I'm just laying down the die cuts to try and work out what I think this card will look like when it's finished. So this is how I kind of play around a bit. It's not all in my mind. I place things down, I look at the sizing. So now I'm wondering, should I bring in a piece of designer series paper? And I look through this pack, which is Lights Aglow, and I'm just looking for something. I didn't want a large pattern. I'm pulling that one out, but that's the wrong colour because it's very vanilla. And my card blank is white. So I'm flicking through and I come across the small patterns here and thinking this might be the right thing. So now I'm not sure which side to use. And this is how I make a decision. I hold it onto the card. I pick up the die cuts. I put them on top of the piece of paper, put it onto the card. This is the only way you'll find out if you really like the effect of something. So I thought I wouldn't cut these bits out. I thought I'd show you how I go about designing the card. So I've made my mind up now that that is the best side. So I'm just going to cut this down to fit my card. And I usually cut it 1/4 of an inch smaller than the card, which leaves me 1/8 of an inch all the way round. So I'm just going to use my Tombow multi-purpose glue to stick this onto the card base. And I just put enough glue to stick it down. Don't go crazy with the glue. If you put too much on, it'll start oozing out the sides, and we don't want that. So I just place that down. Always a good tip to put your card out flat when you're putting another layer down. It will help. If it's folded over, you could find yourself not getting it in the right place. So then I'm bringing back in my die cuts, checking where I'm going to put them. And then I'm thinking about adding a greeting and some more of the die cuts. So I used real red to stamp this poinsettia, and then I cut it out with the dies. So I'm thinking now, how am I going to add a greeting? And I've decided to use a piece of cardstock to fit along the centre there. So I'm placing these back up to make sure it's the right size. And now I've got to work out where I'm actually going to stamp on that piece of card. So if I put all my die cuts down and then rest the stamp onto the cardstock, I can roughly see where I'm going with it. So I've decided to use real red again to match with the poinsettia. And then I just want to make sure I do get this stamped in the right place. So I'm just taking my card base back again, putting it back in place just to work out where to stamp on that piece of card. So this is what I'm saying. I'm leaving these bits in to show you that, you know, you can go back, you can check, you can measure, and that's how you decide the best place. So I'm thinking I need to stamp it about maybe 1 inch from the right hand edge there. So I've made my mind up now. So just to make sure I keep that measurement, I just rest my ruler there so that I can see where that inch mark is. So I go ahead and stamp the Season's Greeting in the real red. It stamps beautifully clear, this stamp. And then I'm going to just stick that down. And rather than stick it right in the middle, I'm actually going to place it just slightly below the halfway mark. Sometimes you'll find that the centre is not always the right place. Sometimes just off-centre looks better. So again, with the Tombow multi-purpose glue, just popping that down. And then I come back with my die cuts and I just put some glue on the back. If I thought about it earlier, I would have used the double-sided adhesive sheet to stick my card down before I cut it out, but as always, I forgot. Now, you might notice here that as I've stuck these die cuts down, I've actually done them upside down. I originally had meant to put the shorter die cut at the top and the longer one at the bottom, but I kind of forgot what I was doing then, and I ended up sticking the larger one on the top. So now I'm thinking, oh, that doesn't look so good. But when I put the poinsettia on there, I actually realised that it doesn't really matter which way I put it up. It still looks good. So again, I'm just putting some Tombow multi-purpose glue in the centre of that poinsettia and just sticking that down. It looks nice with the edges not stuck down over the side of the white cardstock. So now I'm taking the pearlised, I've forgotten what that's called now, and I'm just making basics, pearlised basic shimmer, and I'm just doing some little dots, 3 dots I'm going to do, just at random really, just to make a sort of triangle shape. And that's really my card finished. So I just need to place that somewhere to let it dry off, and then I'll move on to the tags. Sorry, the place names. So I'm just measuring this to see where the centre point is, and it's about 1.5 inches. So I just drew a line down the centre there, and I'm going to bring in my trimmer and just cut down that centre mark. Or I might use my scissors. I think I used my scissors. Yep, here we go. So there's my 2 little pieces ready for the place names. So now I need to cut a couple of pieces of card. So I'm just measuring to see what width and depth I need. And so I've cut 2 pieces of card to the same width there. And then they measure 1.5 inches from top to bottom. So I cut 2 more pieces of card. Sorry, I cut these pieces of card down so they measure 3 inches. So that's one there, and then I'll cut the other one. And then I quite simply just score it down the centre using that trimmer again. And it's trimmed at scored at 1.5 inches. And that just makes like a small tent-fold card really. And that's exactly the right size to glue the die cut to. So I'm just going to use the Tombow again on the back of that to glue it down. So just using my bone folder to get this crease nice and crisp now. And then I can adhere the die cuts down just with Tombow again. And it's really easy because they're exactly the same size as the label there, or the die cut. So it's just a matter of sticking that straight on the front. So I hold it on the place where I'm not going to add glue, and then just go all over with my Tombow. So it's easier if you put this flat, and then as you pick it up you can tap it on the bottom and just ease the card over so it fits at the bottom and the sides. You can feel it with your fingers. And then I do the same to the second one. Laying it out flat definitely helps. If you don't use tweezers already, I do recommend it. It does make everything a lot easier to pick something up with tweezers rather than your fingers. So there again, I'm just feeling with my fingers the edges to get that straight. And then fold the top over there. And that's how our little place names will stand up. So now I decided that I do need a little bit of red decoration. So I've taken this tiny little stamp, which is the 3 berries. And again, I'm going to stamp these in the real red. So I find from my scraps the tiniest little bit of basic white cardstock. It's just the right width. And I'm just going to stamp that twice. And again, this stamps beautifully. So there is also a matching die for this, so I'm just pulling that out, and then I'm going to cut those 2 out with my die cut machine. Just takes a couple of minutes, but yeah, I fast forward all that. So then I've printed out the names on my computer because my writing is absolutely awful. And I took the die that fits in the middle of that one because it's going to be the perfect size for our tags, our place names. So then I just cut that in half, and I remembered that it's 1.5 inches. So I just go ahead and just cut that down the middle with my trimmer. And again, I'm going to just take my Tombow and glue these on. They fit perfectly and leave a little green border around the outside. So really easy to do that. And there's the second one going down. So really quite simple but very effective. And then I'm just taking my little decoration of my berries, which I've dropped. And then I'm just placing that up in the top right hand corner. So simple, really simple idea, so simple to do. But you know, you'll be surprised at people who notice that and think, wow, that's really pretty. And then again, I'm just going to finish off with those little the pearlized basics. I'm just going to do 2 dots here. And then I just put them in a different place because I thought, you know, you don't have to be exactly the same. So there's my Christmas card and my 2 little place names ready for the Christmas table. So I hope you like that idea. It's all using the Merriest Moments with the beautiful embossing folder and of course the dies, which are so useful. This set, I think, has got to be my favourite at the moment for Christmas. So if you've liked my video, please give me a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, please do. And I'd really appreciate it if you shared my video. In the description box below, you will find links to the downloadable digital catalogues and anything that you wish to purchase from the catalogues, you can buy from my online store. And there will be a link to that in the description box as well. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.